I've built rapport with Marty.
We have great rapport.
One, I have a rapport with them.
Trust a rapport with the patient.
Rapport.
178 countries voted to censure Superman.
Censure will help them with that.
And until then, I will take this censure and...
But these censures only apply to the girls.
Censure.
You're never benevolent.
I'm a benevolent leader. I share.
Esteemed colleague, benevolent citizen.
He decided to become a benevolent king.
Benevolent.
You got any amusing anecdotes?
Keep a low profile. Chuckle at anecdotes.
He has only 2 anecdotes. Not
Just be another saucy anecdote.
Anecdote.
So, I'm frugal.
Loyalty, politeness, frugality, soldier's duty.
You could be very frugal.
Is a reflection of frugality rather than necessity.
Frugal.
Assiduously stayed away from it. So tread lightly before you assiduously malign.
Let's put a lid on this assiduousness.
While it remains a burden assiduously avoided.
Assiduous.
Make a dearth in this revolting land.
This is of such a dearth of publicly available work.
You'll recognize your dearth?
There's a dearth of Iranian female directors, so thank you.
Dearth.
Trying to understand, trying to emulate.
Many Baptist scientists you could emulate.
These same people want me to emulate.
His whole career he's tried to emulate me.
Emulate.
Let's call this fortuitous.
Recognize this rather fortuitous opportunity for...
Girls, hell, fortuitous.
Where? What fortuitous timing.
Fortuitous.
I need something tangible.
There's no tangible explosive.
These tapes are tangible evidence.
I prefer something more tangible.
Tangible.
was rendered obsolete.
And I'm obsolete.
I'm an obsolete design.
Marriage is obsolete.
Obsolete.
Keeps meticulous records.
Everything was meticulously restored by...
Meticulously recorded for posterity.
Meticulous researcher, our Joe.
Meticulous.
She was very belligerent and disagreeable.
Several of the belligerents were arrested. Governments and citizens of belligerent nations.
Though the boy does have a certain belligerence.
Belligerent.
Apathy is a solution.
Well, apathy never built anything.
It's not like apathy, it's colder.
Thanks to Paxton's extreme apathy towards school.
Apathy.
We will remain impartial.
He is an impartial third party.
To be a fair and impartial juror.
People cannot be impartial about themselves.
Impartial.
Can I be candid?
To be perfectly candid.
Guess we're being candid today.
I'm taking candid photos of me.
Candid.
Eccentric geniuses.
What an eccentric performance.
The eccentric looking guy?
Like, peculiar, maybe, or eccentric.
Eccentric.
Mendacious and polyglottal.
That mendacious minx stole my map.
Cast by the divine flame.
A mendacious drivel.
I remember because I'm determined, self-possessed, and mendacious.
Mendacious.
The most pernicious problem.
What pernicious propaganda are you peddling?
The pernicious hour is at last upon us.
I believe Logan Roy is a pernicious influence.
Pernicious.
What a delightful force of nature. Serendipity.
But I was only referring to the serendipity of the coincidence.
Maybe it was serendipity.
Serendipity! This is his chance!
Serendipity.
That seems a bit perfunctory.
No, that's far too perfunctory.
Speech that just went from perfunctory to historic.
Instead of just a perfunctory obituary for the newspaper.
Perfunctory.
A nefarious agenda.
Nefarious and sleazy innuendos.
A nefarious plan, which I overheard.
Are you involved in something nefarious?
Nefarious.
I'm supposed to be capricious.
Well, you hired the capricious child.
I find your capricious passion intriguing.
Life is very capricious.
Capricious.
Racketeering, extortion, kidnapping.
Because you were extorting me.
Being extorted for $10,000.
You're sitting here for extortion.
Extort.
How was that cacophony nothing?
Can you please attenuate the cacophony out here? Huh?
To drown out the constant cacophony of voices whispering in my ear.
During dinner, I could tune out the cacophony of chewing.
Cacophony.
Won't perjure myself.
Perjure myself.
Save your seat.
I perjured myself before the gods.
I believe Mr. Sandifer perjured himself.
Perjure.
Everything pertains to you, Eddie.
But do they pertain to me?
I need all FBI records pertaining.
My studies this evening pertain to music.
Pertain.
Your penchant for riddles was legendary.
Norma has a penchant for stable boys.
My point is your penchant for distorting the facts.
Someone in tight leather pants with a penchant for knives.
Penchant.
You know Gloria, she's impetuous.
It's almost impetuous, wouldn't you say?
Mud can be a little impetuous.
You're impetuous and it's not serious.
Impetuous.
Well, if by ingratiate myself you mean...
If you're trying to be ingratiating, Mr. Bond, don't bother.
Don't try to ingratiate yourself with me.
I simply ingratiated myself to the right people, of course.
Ingratiate.
Remember, sir, it is the ephemeral nature of things that makes them wonderful.
Human life is ephemeral.
But dreams are ephemeral, and sometimes impossible.
Tempered by the ephemeral use of color.
Ephemeral.
And might be constitutionally dubious.
He is of dubious parentage.
Catching these dubious, nefarious.
I have always been dubious.
Dubious.
Conundrum averted.
Yeah, it's a conundrum.
Ethical conundrum avoided.
I'm making a conundrum.
Conundrum.
That triggers euphoria, elation, exhilaration.
It can heighten the euphoria.
Relaxed euphoria, the exact moment.
Also produces euphoria.
Euphoria.
Aesthetic principles.
No aesthetic beauty whatsoever.
Aesthetic input. Sculptures. Modern art.
Because you're both aesthetically pleasing.
Aesthetic.
The chamber's hermetic vaults.
A little known, somewhat hermetic artist.
In a hermetically sealed box.
It has a hermetically sealed room.
Hermetic.
They insinuate a slightly skewed perspective.
Okay, then tell me what skew means.
Mutual admiration that skews in my favor.
Right, so that he can't skew the results either.
Skew.
Don't capitulate.
We need not capitulate to the Empire and their kind.
Any sign of capitulation?
Given a choice between capitulation and survival.
Capitulate.
Well, I can only surmise that.
We wanted to surmise your interest.
Surmise the tour did not go well?
We surmised we were facing genocide.
Surmise.
Don't be vulgar.
I'm a vulgar man.
He's a vulgar human being.
You were rude, vulgar, and uncouth.
Vulgar.
Vaguely inept.
These rustics are so inept.
You are not inept, except me.
Because you're a bumbling, inept fool.
Inept.
I never gave these stories much credence.
That I have not given credence to.
Other evidence lends credence to that theory, Captain.
He's a criminal and a terrorist. People aren't going to give him credence.
Credence.
Technically adroit.
Very adroit, Mr. Leslie. Very skilled.
How adroitly your weather vane spins, Harold.
Anthony Soprano was very adroit at keeping his family.
Adroit.
All access privileges rescinded.
I rescind my offer.
I rescind it.
However, I rescind my apology.
Rescind.
She's lucid.
And she's lucid.
What?
She does seem fairly lucid.
Before she lost her lucid thought, she...
Lucid.
Full of philosophical platitudes.
It's a platitude.
Dad never did bullshit platitudes.
You can't just give it platitudes.
Platitude.
She's very succinct.
She is succinct. What a succinct story.
Very succinct summary, well done.
I wish I'd be more succinct.
Succinct.
I'm ambivalent.
And maybe an ambivalence?
And I'm ambivalent about attention.
I found the ambivalence in there.
Ambivalent.
I'm sensing rancor.
I will not have this kind of rancor around my child.
Perhaps he fears the rancor.
It would only create rancor and resentment.
Rancor.
To zealots responsible for mass genocide.
Similar concerns about these zealots.
They're mercenaries. They're not zealots.
Religious zealots
praying at the altar of Atrium.
Zealot.
This boy isn't some hapless smuggler.
A hapless sandwich man.
Who are so hapless at love.
We prefer the term hapless victim.
Hapless.
Same taciturn, self-regarding guy.
So taciturn all of a sudden. Peter, give me some detail.
Taciturn. Introspective.
No, I prefer to be unsociable and taciturn.
Taciturn.
Throw me with your acumen.
Talking about my financial acumen.
Market acumen and intrepid spirit.
You may not have Avery's grace and acumen.
Acumen.
This desk is the epitome.
Which is like the epitome of vanity.
I love cats. They're the epitome of indifference.
I mean, that is the epitome of romance.
Epitome.
Incessant rivaling.
Moderately incessantly.
The incessant self-regard.
His incessant suffering will be a strength.
Incessant.
I feel vindicated.
This will vindicate me.
The Vindicated Hero Ceremony.
And has now been vindicated as innocent.
Vindicate.
Banal committee work.
Your banal questions.
Your ideas are banal.
I'm sorry. There is nothing banal about this.
Banal.
Altruistic phenomenon.
How altruistic of you.
My motives are purely altruistic, I assure you.
A sort of altruistic adventure capitalist.
Altruistic.
Please elucidate.
Elucidate that for me.
Then I thank you for your elucidation, Your Grace.
Allow me to elucidate.
Elucidate.
Take that wistful look off your gulp.
I don't know. Wistfully. No, it's wistful and romantic.
What are you looking all wistful about?
Wistful.
Just realised I've been a tad myopic lately.
Myopic, or to say the least, intransigent.
You get myopic. Can't see the forest for the trees.
Myopic atrophy.
Myopic.
You're just so prosaic.
It's like a very prosaic thing that you wear.
I myself suspect a more prosaic motive.
What was prosaic and even vulgar to one generation.
Prosaic.
A myriad of duties which
Of the human brain's myriad design flaws.
But she has myriad qualities worth voting for.
A myriad of apologies, sir. If there's nothing else?
Myriad.
It's pervasive and insidious. But it is green and pervasive.
The pervasive lack of interest in anything
That has been wiped out by pervasive bad buzz.
Pervasive.
Excellent. Respect your brevity.
Remember, brevity is the soul of wit.
So we would have to learn brevity.
Oh, if you're not into the whole brevity thing.
Brevity.
I'll be myself the harbinger.
It's pretty much the harbinger of death. Wants to use the cue.
His shorts were always the harbinger of summer. Yep. The harbinger of your doom.
Harbinger.
Nothing's ambiguous.
Ambiguously ethnic lifestyle.
The wording is ambiguous.
Lexical ambiguity.
Ambiguous.
Then sympathy evaporates.
Evaporate, tall person.
Because he evaporated.
Evaporation, precipitation, and collection.
Evaporate.
Sort of a prodigy.
A film prodigy?
Harmon, the chess prodigy.
Prodigiously talented.
Prodigy.
Sounded super obnoxious.
He was obnoxious?
Because you're obnoxious, first.
You foul, obnoxious mob!
Obnoxious.
Just being wary.
Be wary, headed-in rodent.
Now people are wary of us.
Now I'm wary of propositions, miss.
Mrs.
Wary.
The problems are so sanguine. Yes, his music is so sanguine.
Be sanguine, fill your boots.
Isn't that the most sanguine thing you ever heard?
Sanguine.
He's very gregarious. He played
Anna, gregarious and wily.
Purposeful, self-possessed, and gregarious.
He was charismatic. He was gregarious.
Gregarious.
Furtive glances!
He's furtively looking at my mother.
That's a furtive move, and you were scared, and
Don't go making any furtive move.
Furtive.
Oh, I'm versatile.
So versatile, right?
Versatile textile.
How versatile is propane?
Versatile.
Until the flames abated?
And the paranoia hasn't abated.
And once the pirate issue has abated,
It's not a cure. It just
Abates the symptoms?
Abate.
Debilitating emotional distress.
I have debilitating anxiety.
Overwhelming and debilitating for me.
And then their own debilitation.
Debilitate.
A judicious investment?
A most judicious proposition.
We have to be judicious.
Just some judicious scrimping and saving, that's all.
Judicious.
He's had ample opportunity.
There was ample parking.
That should provide us ample time.
Ample room in there.
Ample.
Examined and scrutinized.
Be heavily scrutinized.
Needs to be scrutinized and punished.
It's scrutinized more carefully than any other business.
Scrutinize.
It's ineffable.
There is an ineffable quality to memory.
You meant sort of like a general ineffable sense.
Ineffable. Good word.
Ineffable.
Insignia. Esoteric. Ritual.
And also woefully esoteric.
No. Too esoteric.
You wrote esoteric books.
Esoteric.
Don't embroil me in politics.
Get embroiled in this madness.
I prefer not to get embroiled in environmental issues at this time.
We're forced to be kind of embroiled.
Embroil.
I consider noteworthy.
The most noteworthy, perhaps?
I cannot think of anything noteworthy.
It's noteworthy. Other points in history.
Noteworthy.
In the burgeoning home video market.
With the burgeoning diva's shenanigans.
You've built a burgeoning empire.
However, there is a burgeoning Facebook campaign.
Burgeon.
You're fastidious. Exact.
I'll take fastidious.
By a rather fastidious attorney.
I'm a house cat. We're fastidious creatures.
Fastidious.
And it's not nonchalant.
Tri-Cheetah just moves in total nonchalance.
How are you being so nonchalant about this?
You can act all nonchalant, but I know you are starting to root for him.
Nonchalant.
What a quaint town.
And a shield. How quaint.
Quaintness about the little palace.
What a quaint concept.
Quaint.
Can't possibly fathom how.
Perhaps he can fathom you.
Sir, I cannot fathom your grief.
See, what I couldn't fathom is
Fathom.
Old friends. Old, cranky, loquacious friends.
not the loquacious sort, are you?
I just mean he's not particularly loquacious.
Not the loquacious type. I get it.
Loquacious.
Those insidious shapeshifters.
Or, even more insidiously,
It's more insidious than that.
He puts insidious ideas in our minds.
Insidious.
more whimsical.
I find him whimsical.
Where's my whimsical breakfast?
Is whimsical, unpredictable, and fascinating.
Whimsical.
Bewildered indeed.
No, I'm bewildered. Forgive me. Well, it is rather bewildering. You were not bewildered, you were afraid.
Bewilder.
Lamenting's hurt in the ear.
I lament.
Lament with me, brother.
What befell your lamented father?
Lament.
I'll roll.
Murray, how fiendishly droll.
Very droll.
Nice. Very droll. Lovely.
Droll.
Even in this arid wasteland.
It is arid.
The arid sands of Tatooine.
Arid.
Then let us put our past acrimony behind us.
Her mind is totally acrimonious.
Parted in such acrimony.
But it ended in wrath and acrimony.
Acrimony.
Replete with feints and distractions.
Replete with dangling beautiful aerialists.
Replete with extravagant scenery and costumes. Now, text from Becky, replete with hilarious autocorrects.
Replete.
Bright and jovial among your guests tonight.
Oh, that's better. Sounds jovial.
You look very jovial.
He's talking with this funny, booming, jovial voice.
Jovial.
I'm intermittent fasting.
Acute intermittent porphyria.
Works intermittently.
Intermittent washing. And you.
Intermittent.